This is James Harris. My friends call me Jim Harris, and my father was Michael Joseph Harris, and we operated this gold mine 70 years ago. 91, I believe I'm the last surviving one that worked in the mines of Death Valley. And this mine we operated from 1949 to 51 when I joined the Navy during the Korean War. So I didn't want to be drafted in the Army. My dad operated this mine by himself, 1951 to 54, and this ore averaged 2.1 ounces of gold per ton and about 1 ounce of silver and about 4% lead. And at that time, gold was $35 an ounce and silver $1.29 and lead was 16. Now we start at the bottom here at the beginning there. Someone had built an outhouse in this canyon leading up to the mine, and there's some different pieces of debris, an old pipe and an old oil pan from an old engine and an old barrel that we used to haul water in, and then there's the remnants of the cable. My dad bought a spool of cable at the Bakersfield from a drilling place, and there's the old ore bucket that was hinged so it would dump when it got to the bottom of the tramway. And we built this tramway with the first of the towers were 4-inch weldments, and they were packed up, most of them by mules, but there were 2 places we had to carry them on our back. And my dad built the road farther up the canyon up to the bottom of the tramway, and at the beginning of where he started to work, there was an old tunnel that went in there, and that was where people lived, I guess, in the 1930s. Then there's this drag that my dad had would pull behind our truck to smooth out the road. There was, of course, a dirt road, and there's the old Model A Ford truck frame, and that had the engine that we took out of. It was an abandoned vehicle, and we had the engine taken apart and packed up to the mine on a mule. Then we built a tramway there, and it had 2 curves in it, which complicated it quite a bit. But then you see there were towers that we had built there, and we had to hand drill the holes and blast them out, and carried the water and cement up to mix concrete to set the towers in. And you can see some of this rock in the canyon. It's mostly limestone, and some of it's igneous rock. And the ore, of course, was in quartz, is silicon dioxide, and you can see the where it crops out at the mine. Anyhow, at the base of the tramway, we built an ore bin. You can see the stain that was made by the ore. It was oxidized ore, and it did leave a mark on that limestone at the bottom of the tramway. And then it went on up to the first tower, and as we built the tramway, we had to use the Model A engine to pull a 1/4-inch cable up that we threaded up there by hand, and then we used that 1/4-inch cable to pull the main cable up, which was 9/16 galvanized plow steel cable, and we decided that we needed 2 to each other slapping together and making their little noises over the years. Been going on for over 70 years.
Can you hear me, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Could you hear that?
Yeah, I heard a little noise, but I couldn't make out what it was.
Oh, okay.
What was it?
I'm trying to pick up the sound. I tapped on your tram cable with a steel stick and it makes that zipping sound.
Oh, okay. So are you down at the bottom of the tramway?
I'm at your turning station near the top, and hopefully I can call you back from inside the mine.
It'd be amazing. I'm kind of surprised that you have this good a connection from that far.
So I'm taking a video of your construction work of the turn in the cable here.
Okay.
And so I've got a pretty good shot of the line clear down the canyon and a beautiful day. So Jim, what I'd like to do would be to hang up again and see if I can call you back from right at the mouth of the mine.
Okay.
Okay? So
Alrighty.
if you'll hang tight for about 10 minutes, I'll be on the phone again, I hope.
Okay.
Okay, Jim.
Alrighty. And at the mine you can see the cable where it ends, and there's the old Model A engine and had a 4-speed transmission coupled to two drums. So a smaller drum was used to pull ore out of the mine, and the larger drum was for the main haulback cable for the tramway. And you can see the tunnels there and the places where it was dug out. And there's also there's an old hand forge that was left there, had a old blacksmith forge that was used to sharpen the drill steel. We used the tramway to haul up the air compressor, which in its engine, which we dismantled to save weight, and then we put it back together and used the air compressor to run the jackhammer. And there's an old forge there, a hand cranked blower for the blacksmith shop there, forge rather, for sharpening steel. And there's remnants of different little things, parts of old engines and pieces of scrap lumber. And then there's this sign that says "See Inside," as this memorial letter my dad wrote to me in January 16th, 1950, when I was at Sacramento Junior College. This letter tells about some of the difficulties of building the tramway. And then there's a little scene there shows part of an old wooden box. That's a dynamite box. We used the dynamite to blast the ore out of the holes, and there's an old piston from an engine of some sort and scraps of lumber, and you can see the old place. It's very few people get up there, and so it was a great experience. And as I say, I'm 91 years old, and this happened over 70 years ago. So this is all from memories, and which I was glad I did, but I was glad that I don't do that anymore. It was very hard work under very primitive circumstances. And you can see there where the ore had been removed, leaving a cavernous area. And so my dad worked this mine by himself from 1951 to 1954. And he lived there at the mine, and we built a one-room shack down at the bottom of the tramway. And you can see inside the mine where the ore had been removed and left a vacant spot. And so there are very few people who ever get up to that mine because it's quite a hike. It's about a mile east of the King mine and mill, and that has a tramway there. It was straight. And anyhow, ours, you can see our Model A Ford engine and the 4-speed transmission coupled to the drum. And there were two drums there. The larger drum was used for the hoist for the cable for the tramway, and the smaller drum was used for hoisting ore out of the mine, which went down that incline shaft. And you can see there the dump, and part of the old trail follows over to that first tower. It was really a memorable experience, but I'm glad that it's all over and I don't have to do that anymore. It was very hard work under very difficult circumstances, and thanks for your interest in this project. I hope that people will be able to look there and realize that someone worked very hard there. Bye.